All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We're just a bunch of Kiss fans and we talk Kiss. So come along for the ride, you've got nothing to lose. All right, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill. That's Ken. Andrew's back for another rock and roll party in Tokyo, but let's let his trailer do the talking first.
How you doing, Tokyo? Is everybody ready for a little rock and roll?
They are not a rock and roll band in Japan. Their images are everywhere.
You heard about the fanaticism for the music. You heard about people waiting at the airports and at the hotels.
Live in Japan on HBO is really what kicked it off for me.
The whole story was Kiss.
I didn't realize I was recording something special.
It sounded so good. Peter's drums sounded so good.
That Japan show became one of the most iconic Kiss concerts.
I'd just like to say I'm very happy to be in Japan, and we're looking forward to the concerts.
We're back, baby!
Hey, congratulations, Andrew. So where can I buy this?
You can't buy it, actually, but you can see it everywhere on November 11th, on YouTube and on my website, so you'll be able to see that. And the coolest part about 11/11, which will be the time that everybody sees it, I'm also relaunching my website on the same day, and we're bringing back truly interactive media. So you'll go to my website on 11/11, you'll be able to see outtakes, bonus footage, videos you've never seen before, clips you've never seen before, all on the website. So it'll be like, my website will be like those old school DVDs that you used to get that had so much cool footage on them. And I guess Blu-ray's got them now, but we're going back to completely interactive stuff. So you get to see stuff on them that you've never seen before, and it'll be very, very cool. So I'm very excited.
You know, our KISS family has been through a very trying and challenging period, one filled with tears and sadness, one filled with many emotions which still linger in the background. And I think we need all the good things, all the positivity that creators can bring to the fore at this time in order to recenter us and bring us back into, we'll never, the pain will never completely dull, and it's not supposed to. But the Dress to Kill box is dropped this week for many people and will be arriving next week for many others who've ordered it. You can listen now on digital to that, and it's absolutely amazing. My vinyl arrived yesterday, and number one, my back's not in the best of shape, and that thing is freaking heavy. So we'll be doing a separate show on that once everyone on the podcast has had time to digest it in the form that they listen to. But today is all about Andrew. Andrew, first of all, congratulations on bringing yet another project to nearly to fruition, because it's not the 11th yet, so there's a little bit of time to go. I've been watching your podcast. No, it's not done yet. And you'll still be working on it right until you press play at that screening, probably, or adjusting it, no doubt.
Well, I actually set a deadline for myself. I'm going to have it completed on 11/1. So I'm going to work up until the 1st of November. And I'm actually going to go out with a few friends on 11/1 to kind of do an official wrap party. So it'll be done by next Saturday. It'll be completely done. And it's basically there right now as we speak. I don't have much left to do on it. I mean, I'm fixing some things, I'm adding some things, but the audio came back last night. Anton Sanford did a great job on the audio, so I got the stereo mix down last night, and it's cool. So again, you'll be able to see it everywhere on 11/11, and if you're one of the lucky ones that's coming to New Jersey on 11/8, you'll get to see the world premiere of From Tokyo to You November 8th at Smod Castle Cinemas, Atlantic Highlands. Reach out to me. I don't think there are any seats left, which is just blew my mind.
Wow.
But yeah, it's going to be something really cool.
Yeah, and that's a private screening, one that you cannot buy tickets to. It's by invite only, isn't it?
That's absolutely correct. So if you're in the area and you haven't talked to me, or I haven't talked to you, and you're just looking to go, it is not open to the public. You won't be able to just walk off the street into that. You won't be able to buy any tickets. This is something private. It really started out to be for cast and the crew, and then it just kind of exploded into friends, family, and all kinds of people that wanted to come and enjoy this. And if you are one of the lucky ones that is coming here, you're going to get one of these really cool From Tokyo to You posters, only available at the screening. You have to pick it up at the screening, and these won't be sold, shipped, or anything like that, or available after. So they're going to be numbered, and if you want me to deface them and sign them, I will. But this is something that's going to be really, really cool. And I just got word yesterday that there is going to be something really, really cool involving Gene Simmons' Moneybag Soda that you'll be able to get at the screening too. So more on that as we get to that. So it's going to be something very, very cool, and I'm very, very excited about that too.
Well, let's get into the content, because I got to see an edit quite a while ago now, and it may have only been a month ago, but that feels like an eternity to me these days. Ken, you've gotten to see it. You know, when you got to see that preview of it, Ken, and I'm starting with Ken first, Andrew, because you get to wait, because you're going to do a lot of talking later. You know that.
Please, right? Please, to somebody else.
You know what was your immediate feedback or, thoughts on it, Ken? As someone who's seen a lot of videos over the years, and as a very passionate fan, particularly for the 1977 era.
Yeah, it felt to me like it was a documentary that was professionally done. When you see documentaries, there's some haphazard, just kind of thrown together things out there. But this felt like a fully realized documentary, and that made sense, from the beginning to end, the way it flowed. So from that standpoint, that's one of the first things, because lots of times we see these documentaries that are just one put a bunch of stuff together and then they just talk over it, But this had, interviews, earlier interviews, new interviews, and then things throughout that I hadn't, there's some things I hadn't seen before, or I don't remember seeing too. That's a possibility. I lose my memory of a bunch of things these days, it seems, but it was very professionally done, and it just seemed like it was something that was, you're going to see put out there as product, as official kind of a product. So a finished product, not just something that is, although Andrew may be still working on it, but
I am.
And it's product.
It'll be done. I promise it'll be done. It'll be done on time. Yeah. On time, onward and upward, right?
On time and under budget, right? That's your promise.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
so,
right.
So, Andrew, why From Tokyo to You? You've done quite a few projects over the years, but they've been taking a basically video and repurposing it, reimagining it, and there's a whole thought and a discussion around the validity of that as an artwork or an art form in the fan community. Why this? Why now?
Well, a lot of fans know that there's something out there called the Lost Alive 2, and this was named that. It was the Tokyo live album was recorded in Tokyo, never released, and you'll find out in the film how this actually got out into the fan community, and how why it wasn't released and how it got in the fan community. So, and this has always been one of my favorite products, or unofficial product going all the way back to the 90s when I first heard it. Now, what kind of set this off is a couple years ago, I was able to purchase a reel-to-reel copy of this. So
Oh, wait,
this
wait,
is
wait. Just hold that up and don't speak for a minute. I mean, people. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd,
I wanted to
and
ask about that too.
Jesus, there you are. That's
That's
an
the
original mixed down reel
and
from.
you'll find out the story in the documentary how I ended up with this and how this got into my possession. So once I was able to get that, I kind of went back and I was like, man, there's a story here. And originally my story was going to be about how I took this audio content and synced it to the Budokan performances, but I figured there was a bigger story there. There's a story about Kiss in Japan. So you can look at this in 3 different parts. The first part is a small history of the band from 1975 to 1977. And then you can look at the history of them in Japan, how they got to Japan, talk about the Kiss Clipper, talk about how they got held up in customs, then talk about the shows in Japan. And then we kind of move on to this other realm of how it was on NHK and then how this concert was actually seen around the world. While I was making this, I had no idea that there was such a huge how far and wide this concert went. I had no idea. And you'll see how that too. So then it works into the original conventions and how the conventions basically made this come out. And if the conventions never happened, it's possible that maybe this never would have come out. So you go into that story too, and then how we all ended up with this recording. So getting that reel and hearing this recording and remembering why I loved it so much really spawned this whole thing.
So you've got a plot and you've got thematic ideas throughout, as you've just described. How do you balance the history with focusing on that particular? I mean, obviously that recording is core, and that is the central premise of the whole thing. How do you balance it out? And was that a struggle for you to kind of say, I don't want to go too much into the history to set it up, or it's getting a bit wordy there, and then to the after the fact history, that long life that it had until it was kind of uncovered.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I started pre-production for this in November of 2024, and here we are almost in November of 2025. So I started this then, and I wrote down exactly what I wanted to say before I even researched anything. I just kind of just made a list. I go, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I went through everything. So the pre-production that I went through helped me focus on the recording being the star of this. The star of this isn't the history of the band. There have been many Kiss fans that have went over the history of Kiss in Japan. I didn't really want to touch that. There is some of those elements in here, but the focus of this wasn't a point A to point B history of Japan. The point of this was the recording and the history of the recording. And maybe you'll find out things about this recording that you never heard of before, because I certainly hadn't. And that was the goal. So I started writing this in November of 2024. I didn't start conducting my first interviews until March of 2025. So I had like almost 4 months of just kind of reading over things and finding out things and looking at documents and all that stuff. So I took my time in putting this together, and that's what allowed me to put the focus on the recording, not necessarily a history lesson.
So what is it? Is it a fan story, or is it a cultural story? How would you describe it overall?
I think it's both, to be honest with you. I think it's both because the fans are the ones that not only demanded this, but the fans were the ones that got this recording out into the public. And like I said, you're going to find out how this got out into the public. This was a story that I had never heard before. This was a story that I had wrong for years. And now you'll get to hear it from the people that lived it and from the people that did it and how they brought this into the world.
Ken, this is kind of a question for you.
Yeah.
When we talk about Japan, what immediately comes to your mind as an American?
It's almost like, mythological or whatever type story. When you see stuff from Japan, it's kind of like another world from what we are here. It is kind of another world, and I think of it's these things that happen there, and then culturally they do things differently, and handle things differently. Even celebrity, being celebrities or music, and the deal with the kabuki makeup, all that kind of like, when kids put on their makeup, they never thought that. There's no way they thought, oh, this would go down great in Japan. There's no way they thought that, but it did go down that great in Japan, as kind of they're like they are characters. They're not just a rock and roll band. They're kind of these superheroes to a degree there. So I just think. What was the question? No, look. God, I'll just go on.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Well, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I do, because that leads into the question for Andrew: is why do you think Japan has such a fascination for us gaijin?
Well, because they were characters. For some reason, this just all resonated with kids in Japan. This probably is the fault whoever was the original designer at a Coin Management, because looking at the Hotter Than Hell album cover, which again, Hotter Than Hell was not the first album to come out in Japan, but Hotter Than Hell definitely borrowed a lot of things from this movie called Diary of a Shinjuku Madman or Shinjuku Thief. I can't remember the exact name of it. I'm sorry. I took that part out of the documentary a really long time ago because it didn't fit. But if you look at that movie poster that came out, and I think it was 1968, they borrowed so many things from that movie poster and put it on the Hotter Than Hell album cover. I think that was the first Kiss dipping their feet into Japanese culture using the chikara, and just, I don't know, there was just something about the makeup that just led itself to kabuki theater. And I think Japan was one of those audiences that were ready to be entertained. And what I mean by that is they didn't want just music. They wanted something additional to, that's such a funny comment. They wanted something additional than just the music. So, and Kiss gave that to them. So I think all of those things with a marriage made for the history books. I think it really was.
Yeah, thanks for asking about the condition of my box.
Julian usually doesn't get very good luck on his deliveries. So.
Exactly, and this is the 13-pound LP version. So, what is some of the things that are unique to Japan? And you've been there. Weren't you front row in 2006?
Multiple times. I was front row, and then I was also in the photo pit too. So I was closer than front row, thanks to a lot of great friends that gave me that opportunity. But no, Japan is it's massive as far as those cities go, and you could be in there for weeks and then not see everything in those cities. But there's just something about Japan that they respect the music.
Well, here's the first question from the audience, and this is from Jamie Stevens. Can Andrew speak about why the Rock and Roll Party video was taken down on YouTube? He'd assumed that the band had asked so because of a box set was imminent.
No. There's nothing like that. For a while, I was cycling through a lot of my projects because I just want to create a little bit of excitement. So if they're up all the time, maybe you're not as excited for them. Maybe if you pull them down, they might get excited. So, as of recently, everything has been slowly coming back and been reposted. I don't know if I'm going to repost. And here's the other thing too. It originally was titled A Rock and Roll Party in Tokyo with Kiss, and then it was also titled From Tokyo to You. So, I pulled it down because I knew I was going to call the documentary From Tokyo to You. There are clips of that in this documentary. Maybe it'll be shared after this, but again, I think the focus should be on the documentary right now, and then maybe the concert will come out later on. And what I mean by that is this album, which has been titled a lot of things. But this album, it has 11 tracks. So I took those 11 tracks and I sync them to both of those Tokyo shows from April 2nd, 1977. So maybe that'll come out in a later date. But again, no plans for it right now. The plan is to get this out on 11/11 and have everybody, really get off on it.
Well, just one quick follow-up on that, because that reel really intrigues me when I saw that. This is kind of part of the Rock and Roll Over tour, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So the Rock and Roll Over tour was in America, and then it went over to Japan. Supposed to be in Australia and other countries, but it was just to America and Japan.
Yeah, and next year we have the Rock and Roll Over box, probably I'm thinking there may be a Rock and Roll Over box set because of the 50th anniversary. Is there any thoughts of putting it, using that or offering it up to Universal for including it in a box set?
I'm pretty sure they have the multi-tracks of this.
If they still have, okay.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I
But
hope
who
so.
knows? Who knows? I mean, perhaps I would love for them to just take my concert movie. And that'd be a great bonus DVD, wouldn't it?
Hey,
On there.
There you go.
So, but we'll
Good
see.
idea.
Again, I have no insider information. I didn't pull something down because something else is coming. I want the focus to be on this documentary, and that's what hopefully we're doing.
Okay.
So you've allowed a few Kiss nerds to view it already. You were on Podcast Rock City already.
I'm a nerd.
I thought I saw you on another show. What shows have you already appeared on?
So this is actually the final show I'll appear on to promote this. So I was on Podcast Rock City first, and then I reunited with Jason Herndon, did Kiss My Collectibles.
That's the one. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I filmed an episode with Mike Brunn that's going to come out here in the next couple of days, and then now I'm here. So everyone that's been involved with those shows has seen it, and this has basically been their response.
So no ego there at all, right?
No, they responded that to me. I didn't say that. They said that.
Okay, just giving you that opportunity to correct that perception before anyone
I
says
didn't say
Andrew's head was inflating on screen.
No ego. They said that. I thought it was hilarious, and then that's why I have that image. Yes.
Another question from the audience, and this is Stargazer. Why November the 11th? Any special meaning for you? Well,
there's no meaning for that. I wanted 11/8 to be the world premiere, so I wasn't going to release it before then. And then 11/11 the next. I didn't want to wait a whole week after the premiere to release on a Friday, so a Tuesday seemed just as good of a day as any. Probably because I'll be traveling Sunday and Monday, and then I'll be back home to kind of enjoy the premiere with the proper premiere with everybody on 11/11. So no significance there. Actually, to be completely honest with you, the reason why I chose early November was because I want everybody to be talking about this in Vegas. that's the other thing.
I see.
They will. They will.
Yeah. Okay. And Chris Flood, of course, says sounds like a heavy metal day. Sounds good to me as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So going back to the nerds, did anyone point out any oopsies? Did anyone catch anything or draw your attention to anything that you've had to go back and revisit or has changed a perception for it heading towards the final cut?
Still some technology stuff, perhaps, but a lot of Jamie, Steve. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that in a minute. No, not really. A lot of the biggest compliment that I got from everyone was basically saying that they liked how it moved, how well the story moved. I initially thought that perhaps it moved a little bit slower, but a lot of the people that watched it, actually almost everyone that said they watched it, they actually said it moved very, very well. So that was very, very cool. That was like the highest compliment anyone could give me, that the story actually moved the way that I wanted it to. But let's put the last question back on the screen because let's talk about that a little bit.
No, talk audio already. Okay. So let me read it for our audio listeners. And this is Jamie Stevens asking Andrew, were you able to clean up the anomalies on the reel of the Lost Alive tape?
I don't know. Should I tell him?
Tell him.
Okay, Jamie, there are no audio anomalies on this reel. They're not there. So I know that there have been fans that have done edits and tried to remove them and clean them up, but I can tell you there are none here. Furthermore, the original version of this was played at the incorrect speed, and this is the first time that you're going to hear it at the correct speed. That's 1,000% a fact.
Huh.
And it's also fully and properly calibrated.
That's also true. That's also true.
Azimuth, head alignment, and all that jazz that goes into the technical side of getting, good transfer of magnetic media, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah. We've already, everybody has left. But I can tell you with 1,000% certainty that didn't Ace put his hair up like Gina Moses? He did not. Sorry, I have the ADD, but yeah. So this will be the first time I get to hear. Well, I mean that is also those anomalies and those things that's actually covered in the documentary as well too. I hate to sound redundant, but there's a lot of great stuff that's covered in this documentary.
Yeah, and technical stuff as well. While they're not featured in your documentary as such, how did the band members feel about the visit to Japan in 1977? Because that was really that was a massive overseas visit. They'd been to Europe, but it's easier to go to an area where people mostly look like you, act like you, and some of them may speak French or German or English, real English, or Swedish, etc. But Japan that's the other side of the universe in a way.
Yeah, I mean, there is some of that in the documentary. They were talking about how the fans reacted to them and how excited they were. Lydia Chris told me that she never even thought that they would even ever go to Japan. So the excitement of the people that went is represented in here. I did talk with a handful of people that went to Japan. You had Paul and Ace's guitar tech, Barry Acom. He's in here. Lydia Chris is in here. Elise Krenzel is in here. And they all share their excitement on how it was going to Japan. Chris Lent is in here too. Wrote that great book, Kiss and Sell. He's in here as well. And just so there's no confusion about any of this stuff. Yes, some of the interviews I borrowed from the commentary section of the first Kissology DVD, but every single other interview was done by me since March of this year all the way up until July of this year. So there were, I believe the final count was there were 26 total interviews that I conducted that are included in this documentary.
So you got to get upset when people start quoting from your documentary as original source. Now you've got your own original source
here's
material.
The thing. I'm releasing my Into the Ether, and now if someone wants to cite that as research or they want to have at it, there's no real like bombs that I set off as far as discovering stuff in those interviews. There really isn't, but you get to hear an honest recollection of what it was actually like in Japan in 1977.
So what was a standout interview that you did? There's got to be one that immediately jumps to mind, not just that.
It was one of the later ones. I interviewed Richie Rano, who was the guitar player for the band Stars, and he was also the original coordinator of the New York City, New Jersey Kiss conventions. Hearing what actually happened and how he came into possession of a lot of those original Kiss items was something I had never heard of before. I mean, yeah, I heard rumors and I heard secondhand things, but to hear it from the source was actually great. And it's in the documentary. You'll hear it too. Just stuff that I never knew.
Yeah, you actually have quite a bit about those original expos and also warehouses in here. And people may wonder, why are those so important to a story that basically occurred 20 years previous?
It's important because getting access to those warehouses and taking the stuff from the warehouse into the convention circuit is how we got a lot of this stuff. This wasn't like it is today where you can just go on YouTube and type something in. I bet you a lot of stuff that is on YouTube probably originated from those warehouses. It's interesting to figure out where that came from. And then not only that, we talk about the warehouse, I guess the warehouse hoard, whatever you want to call it. I actually found the fan who was the first person to have a cassette tape of this Lost Alive 2, you want to call it, and was the one that helped bring it to the public. So you'll hear that story firsthand.
Chris just put up that Stars is great. Richie Rano is great as well. He's a great interview. I interviewed him for he was one of the few interviews I did for the solo albums book, and he was fantastic. What were some of the surprises that you had while researching this project?
The biggest surprise for me was that this show Live in Japan actually played in theaters. I had no idea that Kiss Live in Japan played in theaters. I mean, Live in Japan is the same edit as the Young Music Show, and then Live in Japan is what was shown on HBO in the United States in 1979. And again, that's another huge misconception. People thought that the HBO show of Tokyo actually aired on HBO in the United States in 77. Did not. Didn't air on HBO until 1979. So that's in here too. But just hearing that this concert went literally all around the world. Talked to people in Canada. I talked to people in Australia where they have their memories that they saw it either on TV or in a movie theater in Japan. There you go.
Yeah,
that's still sitting on my desk.
Just thinking about HBO, the HBO thing, and I know my parents had got HBO, and it was probably like in 77 and 78. So I'm thinking, how the heck did I miss this on HBO in 79? I still can't figure it out how I missed it. Maybe I never expected the Kiss to show up on a movie channel, and that must have been it. And usually I used to look at the old TV guides too, and then I guess HBO had a little guide too. But I used to always go through that and looking for things that were interesting to me that I wanted to watch during the coming days. And I know he must have had that, but I don't know how I missed it. I was like, dang it, how did I miss that event of actually seeing it? It could have been, what time was it it would have been my first time seeing Kiss live, kind of, on film, because I saw them for the first time in November of 79 on a Dynasty tour. So I guess that would have been before that. It would have been kind of a lead up to that.
I think it's August 1979 is when, because there's a guy that I interviewed. His name was David Snowden. He worked out for the Vinnie Vincent fan club, but he also did a lot of other fanzines. And it was just he was one of those fans that was there when a lot of the stuff started. And he saw Kiss in Largo, Maryland in 1979. And then he had mentioned that he saw the concert in July and then saw the HBO show in August of 79.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of, I just can't get over it now.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the great thing now is now you could see it now. It's fan circles now, but yeah, I mean, it was shocking to me that a lot of people, and then what was also shocking to me was like people like, well, we didn't have HBO, so I had to go to like my uncle's house or something to go watch it, and then that's what they did. They made like a movie out of it, which is also very cool.
Yeah, so they're July 28th, I think, on HBO, and I was holding that open page up because I figured Kim was watching Capricorn 1 instead. He saw
Dallas.
The concert. He's like,
Capricorn 1. I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
I went to that. I went to that in the theaters. Yeah.
No, I always like that. Andrew, what were some of the difficulties you faced? Because this is a completely different paradigm than putting together, I don't want to use the word cobble, but you know what I mean, assembling footage and repurposing it. Here, you now have so many other elements coming into play. What were some of the difficulties or challenges that you faced while bringing From Tokyo to You to Live?
Well, I mean, at first, I always question, like, is this going to be any good if I do this? And am I going to be able to complete this? There's this thumbs up again. But so I remember I was at the Kiss Monster Mini Golf course, and they have the merch section set up, and they were selling Kisstory books, and Kisstory was open up to the Japan 77 page. So once I saw that, I was like, you know what? This is a sign that I should be doing this. So prior to that, it was just a lot of doubt on, oh man, is this going to be good, or are these interviews going to work out? Am I going to be able to put this together? I mean, what's it going to look like? Because it's so different than everything else. So it was more of a self thing, or the difficulties. Like, am I going to be able to do this? And if I can do it, is it going to be any good? So, and that kind of, went on for months and months and months. And as I mentioned, I did interviews all the way up till July of this year. And even still, while I was doing interviews, I was still editing, everything together while I was doing these interviews. But I mean, this was a totally different monster than anything I've ever done before in my life. There's probably going to be over an hour of interview footage that I'll put up on my website that you'll be able to see that was great, but it just didn't fit into the story. Like, someone mentioned that there was a pilot that flew over all the gear on an unpressurized plane. It just didn't fit in there. It dragged on. The documentary is 80 minutes. A full 80-minute documentary.
So about the length of the concert.
About the length of the concert. It's actually funny because I was watching The Greatest Show on Earth not too long ago, and I forgot that I made that 77 minutes. So I thought that was funny that I made that 77 minutes because it was set in 77. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing was difficult because, as you mentioned, this is a different monster. This isn't cobbling together footage that was either intended for something else, or this isn't a concert. This isn't anything else. This is something totally original that tells a story from beginning to end.
As of today, pick a high point through the process.
Difficult question.
Should be the first one on your mind.
It's not
that
though.
one. That one's dirty. Do another.
The website, yes, there will be Easter eggs on the website for you to find. For the audio listeners, someone asked if there's going to be any Easter eggs on the website for you guys to find. Yes, there will be. I guess the high point, and I'm not going to go into what this actually is, but the high point was putting to bed is any of Alive 2 from Tokyo. That was the high point, and you'll find that question out in the documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the challenge? Because it does have performance sequences in there. How difficult was it to narrow down how much, number one, because they are very secondary. That was one thing that struck me when viewing this, is that they're almost just a very supporting character in this, a very secondary supporting character, except in one place. How much of a challenge was that to really whittle it down? And is it because you've previously, synced stuff that you kind of stayed away from that and kept it to the story?
Yeah, I really wanted to keep this to the story. I didn't want to just put out, concert footage again. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put any complete songs, but I did want to show little snippets of each version of this concert. So you're going to see a little snippet of the 3 p.m. show, a little snippet of the 7 p.m. show, snippet of the Young Music show, a snippet of the HBO edit, a snippet of the edit that was on National Sound Unlimited, which was the Australian TV show that aired it, then a snippet of KissFAQ to kind of show all the different versions of this, how the show has been released over the years. But again, as you mentioned, this wasn't about showing concert footage. That's secondary. The focus was the story. So I just wanted to make sure there was no complete songs. I didn't want anything to drag on, and I wanted it to leave the focus on the story I was telling, not the songs.
Walk us through the technical process. Take us into the editor's chair
into
of
the
some
editor's
of the things
chair
that you do.
Can we do this? Hold on. Let's do something. Let's see. For you guys that don't know, I'm actually at my my workstation right now. Let's see. Do I have something here that we can show? I believe I do. Okay, so let's just do this. Let's go off the cuff here. I'm just going to share my screen. And I'm going to share screen number 2. Okay, so can you put that up here? All right, so this is my editor.
Hey, it's Billy May.
So this is Billy May here. He's in the documentary, one of my great friends. But this is just, we're just gonna take you into the editing room a little bit. So we're gonna scrub through some of the footage here. I just want to show like one. I'm at a really early edit of here. So like, for example, like I'm showing a clip of the show from this. This is the original raw video file. I haven't upscaled yet, so this was like a placeholder thing. And then hadn't. But then, when I had upscaled something, so here's something upscaled, but then, you look and there's the original piece of footage down there. So there's that, me doing that there. It's just, this is, I was just basically putting this all together and, looking at, here's some pictures and here's, some more interviews. And this was just, there is no manual for this. You have to kind of put it together in a way that you can tell a story. So, this, here's a, looking at, I'm playing for you just,
hey, that looked like Music Life.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, a memo that came from Music Life that I thought told the story really well. Or check this out. Here is the actual stage plot for the tour, for the Japanese tour. You get to see some of that here, but there's just so many cool little nuggets in here that, ended up, happening. So let me see if I can share the other screen here. Give me 1 second here. Let's stop that, but let's maybe go to the other screen where we can see. So let's share that. Okay, cool. All right, but look, but here's basically my timeline. You're looking at everything in here where, like, you have, your piece of video footage, which is here, then it's upscaled there. And then, for example, this has subtitles in that piece of the screen. So, but this is one of the edits right here where, you see some of the opening credits, which is here. And, you see some of the footage here, but and then these are all the different little
transitions.
These are all the little different. So this is like one of the early edits, and you see the doc edited with original audio. That was before the audio got edited. But if you look here, this is the actual. So this is like the final product, which is in here, where you have just my stereo audio track, and then we're working on all kinds of things, and there's like your video file, and there's your title right here, and then. So it's something like that. So there's a quick little peek, in the into the editing room.
Thanks. I mean, it's very cool. I mean, it won't mean a lot to a lot of people, and even on the video side of things, I don't get that because that's just not the level that I work at. But it's still very cool to see. There's a good question while you were showing that. From Mike here. I remember a young journalist who a few years ago wrote a book, flew over with the crew and band to cover the tour. Is she in this documentary?
She is. That's Elise Krenzel. She was one of my first interviews that I did on there because I had her book and I thought she would have been great in this, and she is absolutely great. So she's in the documentary, and then also go pick up her book if you haven't.
Yeah, so talk about some of the people who are in the trailer, because obviously those are important voices. You have obviously Billy May.
Billy May, great friend of mine for 20 plus years. Eddie Trunk is in here. John Five is in here. John Humphrey from Seether is in here. And John Humphrey from Seether, his introduction to Kiss was this Japanese show. He saw it on HBO. That was the first time he ever saw Kiss and how he became a fan. So he's in there. Lydia Chris is in here. Chris Lent is in here. Alan G. Parker, who is one of my favorite directors. He was going to direct the official Kiss documentary, and for whatever reason, it didn't happen. So he's in here, but there's so many cool things in here that you'll get to see. So hopefully, you get some stuff for the first time. Now, there is footage in here that you've never seen before that I was able to get permission from the owner of this footage to put in here. So you are going to see stuff that you've never seen before in this documentary.
Ooh.
So.
Ken.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just making sure you're still a part of this.
No. I am. I think. What do you expect? I guess for how this will go down. In the future, as a film, a Kiss film about Kiss or about the actual whole experience of Japan. I mean, what do you expect going down in you're like a legacy?
Well, I hope that everybody enjoys it. That's number one. Number two, I hope that this elevates Kiss fan films, or just fan films I hope this elevates creators' work. This isn't just re-editing a video. This isn't just fixing something or upscaling something. And this is a complete and total original story that's being told here for the very first time. So I'm hoping that other fans do the same thing, and I hope other fans elevate their work too. So, but again, just the simple answer, I hope people enjoy it. I hope people enjoy seeing Kiss in Japan, and I hope people enjoy hearing about the story, because there is a really great story that is here too.
Well,
you'll get to see other great stuff too. I mean, there's footage of the very first Kiss convention in here that no one's ever seen. Oh, look, that's a cool little graphic too.
That's really I didn't want to forget to show this, because this is for the screening that you're doing. And again, this is not open to the public and it's not a paid event. But who did that fantastic artwork? Because that's absolutely killer.
Fantastic art was done by the great Ken Mills, who a lot of you are going to know, one of the original voices on the podcast. So he did that drawing of the band for me, and I thought it was so cool. Great. I just had this vision of wait, hold on, let me show you something really cool. Can you show the actual poster? Okay, so that's the poster where I use the image, but this is something cool too. This is my original sketch of what I thought the poster should look like. So, and again, so check this out, just stick figures and just, but if you look at this sketch and you look at what the poster actually ended up, I think I nailed it. I just had this idea and I sketched out this idea, and I think the sketch looks like kind
of a smashes, thrashes, and hits in a way too. You know, the arms reaching up to
this is
the
not
bands
the tour.
above.
Yeah, this is not the tour they did 7 at the Budokan. That was 78. This show, they only did 4 shows at the Budokan. They did April 1st, 2 on April 2nd, then a show on April 4th, 77. So they tied the Beatles record in 77. They broke it in 78.
One quick question, going back to the Alan G. Parker.
Yeah.
So you interviewed him, right?
Yes.
Anything, I know this is kind of off topic in a way, about the documentary that was canned? Anything known that it actually that it could see the light of day at some time, or?
You know, I don't really know. I mean, that'd be more of a question for him. He has a really great John Lennon documentary that came out, and that he's doing a premiere in New York City on December 8th. I'll be there for that.
Oh, great.
December 8th? Wow.
December 8th. It's a Monday.
45th anniversary.
Yeah. So that'll be there. So I'll be there for that, and I think him and I are going to hang out a little bit in the city, because he's actually a friend of mine, and he's a huge supporter of my work, and I'm a huge admirer of his work, because this guy has made his film's been profitable, every single one that he's done. So I would love to do what he does. I really would. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting here just doing little stupid drawings like this and his movies. So
I've left a comment in the chat for you to decide whether you want to answer that before I put it up on the screen.
Nah.
So how should a viewer approach watching your movie?
Well, you can. You'll be able to see it anywhere on YouTube. I would recommend not watching it on a phone. Hopefully, any viewer is going to have a smart TV and can look at it on their TV and actually have like a cinema-like experience. But if you must view it on the phone, it will be available on YouTube anytime. But I want the viewer to turn off all distractions and just get lost in this 80 minutes of Kiss in Japan.
80 minutes of escape. From the mundane or the stress of everyday life. We all have a lot of stress in our life. I have one final question for you, Andrew.
Mm-hmm. I have one final answer.
I hope. How does Ace's passing affect your work here? Obviously, it's a tremendously sad time.
Yeah,
has it
really
forced
is.
any reappraisal of any content?
It has not, because I was so far into the film that at that point in time, I wasn't able to change anything. Ace is absolutely represented in the film. The movie's dedicated to Ace. I'll throw a bombshell out there that maybe people did or didn't know, or some did or didn't know. Ace was going to be coming to the screening on November the 8th. So unfortunately, that won't happen now. But it still really hasn't hit me yet about his passing, just because these guys are ageless as far as I'm concerned. I still have that image of them in Las Vegas on the reunion tour when I was watching The Simpsons. That's how those guys are to me, and maybe that's how those guys will always be to me. So it hasn't really hit me yet. Perhaps it will, after we all get together and watch the documentary together. I actually talked to another guy, his name is Dave Stryker, about possibly showing some clips or showing something of Ace before the movie, maybe like a song or two or something that he did, because he did the Ace Vision Volume 1 back in '93. So perhaps you'll see that there too, but his presence will be felt there. And as I mentioned, the movie is dedicated to him and his memory.
Ken, do you have any final questions for Andrew?
Only, this is great. I think it's a fantastic, movie documentary. Are you already starting to look for your next project?
No.
Yeah. You can't give yourself a break, right?
Only because I would like a break. Really, this was something that grew way bigger than I could ever imagine. When I first started this, I only had 2 interviews in mind. It was Lydia Chris and it was Elise Krenzel. And then I was like, I'll do a little, 10 or 15 minute quick little documentary. But then this grew into something that I never thought it could get this big. So there's nothing on deck right now. I'm looking forward to a nice break. This has consumed almost every day of my life since November of last year. That's when I started the idea for this. So I'm looking forward to not doing anything for a little while and maybe, enjoying stuff. After we're done here today, I'm going to work on something just for a little bit, but I want to enjoy the Dress to Kill box set for a little bit and then, kind of jump back into this. But yeah, I could see the finish line of this movie and it's something cool. I can't wait to share it with everyone. I can't wait to be there on November the 8th at Smodcastle Cinemas. It's going to be like a little mini reunion of all the old convention days. Bill Baker from the Ace Frehley tribute band Fractured Mirror, he's going to be there. Billy May will be there. Dave Strike will be there. Peter Arquette will be there. This is going to be something so cool that, we can just remember how cool it was to be Kiss fans. And yeah. So again, another question in the chat. Do I have any ideas for future videos? At this time, no. I'm the only thing I want to do is take a break. I really want to take a break.
And that sounds like a good point on which to end. Andrew, I wish you all the success with this. I hope everything goes smoothly into the run up to its release. But more importantly, I hope the reaction is positive and you feel validated for the effort and time that you've put into, making this. I hope that everyone in the KISS Army can take this as some cherry medicine at a time that we need something to remember our superheroes in their heyday when they were immortal. So
this might actually make me pull out my old music life.
Yeah,
you didn't say Love Gun, thank God.
Yeah, here's what you should do as a KISS Army member. Listen to the Lost Alive 2, watch From Tokyo to You, and then finished up with Alive 2. Great night of KISS, and you'll kind of get the whole picture of these recordings and the story of KISS in '77.
Yep, and then keep hoping that Universal will one day do something officially with that Lost Alive 2 album, Rock and Roll Party in Tokyo, because people have craved it. If you listen to the audio on the Dress to Kill box set and you see how it's not brick-walled and murdered, you'll see that they are treating the music
with respect.
And that was one of the things that pleased me the most. And I looked at first when I looked at those digital files for the 9624 copy of the Dress to Kill. It is beautiful. I don't see any clipping. They have been, I'm sure it's imperfect because that's just the way of life. But I think they've done a great job. And I would love to hear Rock and Roll Party in Tokyo in that fully mastered form, potentially even remixed by Eddie Kramer. I don't care. Give me the contemporary one. Give me a new, up-to-date one for Happies. I'll buy it twice. I'll buy a new. I'll buy the original.
So will I. So will I. So I really can't wait. I will leave because I hope that some people here follow me on social media. I hope I am gonna post something next week. That's something really, really cool. It doesn't have to do with KISS in Tokyo, but it has something to do with being a KISS fan and how, KISS has changed all of our lives. So my goal for the next, 30, 60, 90 days is I really want to bring the KISS Army together again and celebrate this great band and show how many things in this band's history are worth celebrating. So yeah. So again, if you're one of the lucky ones, 11/8 Smodcastle Cinemas. If any of people that are going that are watching, I am going to reach out for all the guests for one more confirmation just to make sure that every seat is filled in this theater, because there is a wait list, which just boggles my mind. And it boggles my mind for a reason, because I did a screening of The Greatest Show on Earth in 2019 here in Cleveland, and 4 people showed up. 4 fucking people showed up. Okay. So, I never thought
Detroit Rock City did better in the cinema than you.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I don't know about that.
I never thought that I was going to do some of this ever again. So now that I'm having to turn people away and have a wait list, blows my mind. So that's coming in the weeks. But if you can't make it to the screening on 11/8, just a couple days later, 11/11, you'll be able to see From Tokyo to You on my website, on YouTube, and hopefully you will all enjoy it.
And where is that?
Oh, my website, andrewsgambati.com. You can find everything on there.
All right, everyone. I want to thank the audience, as always, for joining us live today and chiming in with your questions. I'm glad Andrew was able to answer some of them, that we were able to make this a community podcast. We got to stop fighting, people. Let's celebrate KISS. Life is too damn short. So for now, from me, from Ken, from Andrew, and I want the rest of the team.
Let's thank the sty in my eye, too. It's been bothering me this whole time. Let's thank that guy, too.
Hot, warm compress. Okay.
You clearly didn't do your hair before the show either. Shame on you. All right, that's it. We'll see you next week. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the message board and discuss the topics we've broadcast today. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you've listened to this show, and a like would very much be appreciated. We hope you'll join us again, but until then, remember, life's a radio. Turn it up to 10.